Alright, what's going on everyone? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a sort of versus matchup type of video. Going to be comparing Dragon Ball Z to Dragon Ball Kai, giving my thoughts on which is the best version to watch, which is the definitive Dragon Ball Z. Alright, good stuff. So this is one I kind of wanted to do to sort of give my thoughts on this versus style, not really like a matchup. I usually do characters for versus videos, but in this one we're going to be comparing the two main versions of Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball, the anime, of course. Dragon Ball Z has been remastered a few times. It's been released on Blu-ray, and you can get the sets. They're a pretty good price. You get quite a few episodes, and it looks really good, really clean. You have lots of options between the different scores you want to use, and when you want to watch it, and different dubs and everything. So there is that out there. And then of course we have Dragon Ball Kai, which is now in the middle of the Buu saga, or almost the middle, and it's just wrapping up. So I felt like now was a good time to go ahead and do a video comparing the two and giving my thoughts on which version is the definitive version. Now this video is applicable to English speaking, or I guess listening people who are going to be buying one or the other in English, or interested in one or the other in English, and which one I think is best. So this is a tough one for me, and I'll put a couple clips in the description for you guys so you can click and you can compare the two. Basically, I'll use Android 19 versus Vegeta because there's two clips, one from Kai and one from Z, that I was able to find without too much effort here on YouTube, so you guys can literally see the differences between the two, how they look in comparison to each other, and kind of compare it for yourself. Now, here's the thing. Of course, between the two, Dragon Ball Kai visually, I would say, looks a lot better. They really did a good job of cleaning it up, of even at some points redoing the animation, it seems like, kind of shrinking the lines, and it really fits in 16:9 a lot better than the Dragon Ball Z remastered Blu-ray releases does. The older Dragon Ball Z remastered ones, they tend to have like these big blocky outlines around the characters, black outlines, like kind of like a drop shadow or just an outer line around the characters. The colors are also really bright. Like sometimes you kind of have to look at it for a bit. Sometimes it looks better because it's like it's got a higher contrast than Kai does. But overall, really, I would say in terms of the colors and the visuals, Kai looks a lot better. Also, because the original was done in 4:3, even when they remaster it, no matter which version you look at of the original Dragon Ball Z, it's always kind of like they've stretched it to 16:9 for 4:3, but with the releases of the original, it's like they, I don't know, it's like it's more zoomed in. It's like they had to crop it a bit. There's a bit from the bottom missing. Now, it's not that noticeable a lot of the time, but if you guys compare the Vegeta versus Android 19 clips I put in the description, you look at them, you'll see what I mean. How the older version, Dragon Ball Z Remastered, looks like it's been zoomed in. And it doesn't matter which clip you watch, they all basically look like that for the older one. It's like it's truly zoomed in, because I believe the 4:3 and the way they remastered it, they weren't able to stretch the image without cutting out at least a little bit. Now, in the past, that was a bigger problem with some of the releases, so it's not too bad, but I would definitely say that visually Kai looks a lot better. Now, so that's one kind of feather in the cap of Kai. Now, the big thing with the older Dragon Ball Z releases is that you get the Bruce Faulkner score, music. And now, of course, for us English-speaking people, viewers, for me, it's a big improvement over the Yamamoto score. I'm pretty sure his name is, for Kai, and the Kai score is very simplistic in comparison. Granted, it does use silence a lot better. It uses some breaks here and there a lot better, I will say, because sometimes the Faulkner score, it's just over the top, where you have music all the time. Like there's almost no slowdowns. There's almost no breaks in between the fights or anything. There's like always music or always sound effects at some point. So I can understand that criticism that people have who prefer the Yamamoto score. But for me personally, the one that I grew up listening to or watching was the Bruce Faulkner score, and it's also my favorite. I even like the songs so much that sometimes I'll just listen to them in YouTube videos by themselves. For example, certain themes like the Perfect Cell theme, the Super Saiyan 3 Goku transformation theme, the Vegeta theme with the Hell's Bells, the Bells type thing. There's so many great themes that he's put together that really elevate the show to another level to me. I mean, you can see Goku transform to Super Saiyan 3, but when you add in that score and the music, it just makes it so much better, at least for me anyway. I know there's other people. There's a few that don't like the Bruce Faulkner score. So for them, I'd say this is a no-brainer. Kai is probably better for them. But for me, this is a really tough one because I definitely prefer the Faulkner score, which you can only get if you get the remastered Dragon Ball Z classic version. The Kai version, they've never dubbed it with the Faulkner score, and they probably never will. Although if they did, that'd be super cool. But then, for me, it'd be the way to go. So this is a tough one because you're looking at almost like the difference between visuals being better with Kai and the audio, at least in my opinion, being better with the classic version. But in addition to that, we also have the fact that Kai has trimmed the fat. They have taken out a lot of things. They've shortened the episode lengths. They've removed a lot of the filler, and they've made it a lot closer to the original manga, Akira Toriyama's manga. So for today's world, in the kind of the time crunch type society we live, I do think that Kai is better for your casual fan, or most fans. I think it's only the really hardcore Dragon Ball Z fans that are going to want to have the extra filler. Now, granted, there's some filler that is a lot of fun in Dragon Ball Z. There's a lot of, for example, right before the Buu Saga starts, the Otherworld tournament is completely filler, and it's great, seeing Pikkon, seeing some of the other characters. That's just one example. And then on the flip side, you have the Garlic Jr. saga, which I think is personally one of the worst there is, period. And, so you kind of have the mixture between bad filler and good filler. So that's another consideration to take into account. For me personally, it's a tough one because I love the Faulkner music so much, but still I would have to go with Dragon Ball Kai as, for me, the best version to watch right now. Because I am a visual type of guy. I'm really big into visuals, and because you can listen to any of the the tracks from Faulkner on YouTube if you really want to. But it is a tough comparison as a result, and I can definitely see if anyone would prefer the original version because it had the Faulkner score, and because maybe they like some of that, some of the additional things that were in there. Plus, there's also a lot of the lines that have been changed between the two in the dub. Things are like a lot of lines are delivered differently. Some of the voice acting is better, some of it's worse. Everyone has their preference, and it's such a lengthy series. I can't really say I like this dub better than this one. I like the phrases in this one better than that one because there's so many and they're all delivered differently. So for certain parts, I prefer the classic, lines and phrases, and or just, I guess, just audio dubbing, aside from the music, the actual voices and everything, dialogue. And there are cases where I like Dragon Ball Kai's better because it makes more sense. It seems more plausible, seems more realistic. So it is a tough one for me personally. I got to go with Kai. Just narrowly, though, and here's to hoping and wishing that someday, eventually, they'll be able to release a version of Kai that has the Faulkner score on it. That would just be perfect for me. So those are kind of my thoughts on which one is better. I would go with Kai personally, but definitely there are a lot of advantages to the classic version as well, too. So I think for some other people, if they really love that Faulkner score, in which I can't fault you for because I do too, the classic version of DBZ would win this one. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Dragon Ball Kai versus the original Dragon Ball Z remastered, and which one I personally would recommend. I personally would recommend Kai at this point because it looks like they're going to finish up the rest of it, and it is a really good, quick, condensed, cleaned up version of the classic Dragon Ball Z. Even though I just wish they would redo all the animation and completely do it over again if they're going to do that, rather than kind of using it and cleaning it up, just reanimate the whole thing. If you're going to air it on TV and you've got Battle of the Gods and you got all this other stuff going on and it's a worldwide anime, it's like the biggest anime of all time, or at least one of them, arguably, you'd think it deserves to be reanimated for today's standpoint if they're not going to make a whole new series. I mean, ideally, I'd like to see them make a whole new series, but if you're going to release it, I'd like to see it fully reanimated. So I do like Kai. I do like that they went ahead with it. It's better than nothing, but ideally, I would like to see it completely reanimated. I think that would be sweet, even though Kai is, at this point, to me, the best version of DBZ so far. So let me know what you guys think about this. Of course, it's a subjective topic. Which version do you like better, you think is better to you? You know, it's going to vary per person. So let me know what you guys think. And if you like the video, please thumb it up, like it below. And yeah, I'll call it here. It's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, as always, and I'm saying peace.